What's up, YouTube? Dan the Metroid Man coming in with this surprise. I had gotten this game for Christmas, along with a Wii U that has after nearly 3 months, been fully loaded with just about every Wii U, Wii, GameCube, and Nintendo 64 game I could ever want or play. So look forward to some content for ROM hacks and maybe even some retro achievements. I definitely want to do a playthrough or 5 with my little brother on Eternal Darkness, Sanity's Requiem. But today, we're gonna be looking at Metroid Prime 4, a game that we've been waiting on for over a dozen years. So let's see if it was worth the wait. Obviously, full game spoilers ahead, and I will be getting 100% items and scans for the bonus ending. So, we start off on a crazy battlefield, trying to help the Federation forces stave off the space pirate assault. Samus is back, looking better than ever before. And holy fucking shit, the controls are amazing. Yeah, I might only be playing this on a normal Switch, but the gyro controls are so swift and precise, it's fucking great. It feels even better than the Wii trilogy. It's responsive, snappy, well-timed, precise timing but not overly so. And it just feels great to play. So we start off with some basic kit, the usual stuff. Power beam, missiles, charge beam, double jump, morph ball, and standard bombs. So let's see how much we lose when the prologue is over. And that's when the game's first problem rears its head: the scans. Scanning has always been very important in the Metroid Prime series, and in the original trilogy, 2 and 3, scans were color-coded, red being mission critical, blue for general, and green for already scanned. However, in the remaster of Prime on the Switch and the OG, you instead scanned these square nipples, where there's 3 varieties: red for mission critical, orange for everything else, and faded for already scanned. This is a little weird because the scan area is a bit more precise, but it isn't that bad. However, Metroid Prime 4 changes this again. Now, there's only 2 varieties: green and yellow-green. I don't think anyone knows why certain objects are different colors, and the colors themselves are very muted, so in certain environments, you can't even tell half the time where the objects to scan even are. I have no idea why Retro changed this from the trilogy, nor why they changed it again from a functional system in the remaster to this terrible system. The fact that Unknown is green now as well really fucks up a good system, so I really dislike this change. Also, they removed the computer voice of recording to logbook, which was really nice to hear. So, we go through the base, fight some pirates, and get to the end to see the villain from Corruption's secret ending has returned, a dude by the name of Silux. And we fight the first boss of the game, Alberax. And that reveals another problem. According to the logs, all of the major bosses of the game have been merged with a Metroid. This feels very strange, as Alberax is the only one it seems to really make sense. The others should be corrupted with the other energy source of the game, though some, but not all, of the bosses show this. Oh well. Once we take down Alberax, the MacGuffin artifact the GF found teleports us and several members and equipment, plus Psylux, yet somehow doesn't send a single space pirate with us, and the real game can start. We lose our double jump, missiles, and bombs, so it's not too bad of an initial loss. The planet we are on is named Vuros, and the ruins of a past civilization show that there are basically no survivors here. As we explore the tower, we get a crystal embedded into the Varia suit that allows Samus to use psychic powers. This upgrades both our scan visor and our beam. And yeah, that's another point against this game. There's only a single visor upgrade that doesn't do much, and the beam options don't really change throughout the game. There is another damage upgrade later on, but yeah, it's very disappointing that there's not really any beam or visor changes. Even Corruption had the additional X-ray visor, and the newer beams all stacked onto each other like in the 2D games, so the lack of upgrades here is pretty disappointing. After getting the crystal, we get to the first real area, Fury Green. And man, you gotta love how the Prime games include all types of creatures to really make the environments feel alive. That seamless world building, environmental storytelling, and biological diversity really come through well here in the first area. Unfortunately, I think Fury Green is the only area where this is truly well done. We also get a special psychic glove that lets us move modules of psychic energy. Here, we also get introduced to one of the game's annoying side characters, Mackenzie. Mackenzie is a product of what people call millennial writing. Mackenzie is an annoying and whiny character. At least he can help provide guidance and can provide some upgrades. And we also get our missiles back. But he's still annoying and a waste of space. I truly hope he dies in this story. We make our way across a bridge, fighting the main enemy of the game, the Grievers. Yeah, these guys suck and take up like half of the game's scans and enemy roster, as basically every area and biome has them, and then the shreds also take up like a third. So after we leave this area, the enemy variety takes a nosedive into the Marianas Trench. We then get our base in the temple, learn that we need to be on the lookout for green crystals to provide green energy, this game's Phazon knockoff, and can head to the next boss. We also get a new beam upgrade too, that lets us shoot a psychic beam that we can control and steer. The idea here is neat, but I feel like the implementation needed more polish. It feels like the gameplay slows down too much in these sections. onto Carvex, a standard plant boss that fights with vines and has large flower-like weak points. Make sure to scan the vines and the pollen sacs, as these are missable. Once the plant goes down, we get our bombs back, and also an upgrade, Psychic Bombs. With Psychic Bombs, we can charge a bomb to make it count as a Psychic Mote and detonate them remotely, even throwing them with the glove. Then, we get shot out of a cannon, the absolute best way to fast travel, and crash in a desert near the Volt Forge. The Volt Forge is extremely cool aesthetically. Factories powered by the intense and never-ending storm with multiple lightning hazards. As we make our way through restoring power to the facility, we get our next upgrades, the Viola suit and the Viola. The Viola suit is probably the sexiest power suit we've seen Samus wear, like, ever. And the color and sheen are amazing and mouth-watering. The motorcycle is cool too, and just like that Muppet Arlo said, it definitely stimulates monkey brain of Samus on cool motorcycle. We have a brief fight against Pseudo-Silops here, and end up fighting Zelios, a collection of evil magnetic garbage in a fairly lame fight. But hey, we get the double jump back after murdering the cute creature, and can also use the psychic platforms too. So, now that we armed ourselves with the bike, we get introduced to the most annoying aspect of the game, crystal collecting. Yeah, the desert is sparse, a bit too wide, and very empty, with the side goal of getting green crystals that are progress locked, as not all of the crystals are available at the start. More will show up as you make more progress. We take a detour to the volcano area flare pool, and get our next weapon upgrade, the Fire Shot. The shots are a great combat and utility tool with great applications. The fire one can do damage over time by burning enemies, and can burn several obstacles and parts of the environment. With this upgrade, we can now storm into the Ice Belt. Making our way up, we get assaulted by the Wolf Pack, and just when all hope seems lost, and we're about to be overwhelmed by sheer numbers, someone shoots a turret that scares them off, and we gain access to the Biolab. We meet another NPC, a sniper named Tokabi. He's pretty much the only competent human NPC, but he's still annoying. As we explore the lab, we learn that the Lemur, the prior civilization, used the green energy of the planet to provoke evolution to make things better. But it turns the people into the Grievers. Yeah, typical sci-fi stuff. We also get the Psychic Lasso, a tool that lets us yank things. Once we get to the bottom of the lab, we can fight and slay Keratos, the ice roly-poly that likes to use his armor to make our stuff bounce off of him, along with making some ice tornadoes and freezing us. Once he goes down, we get the Psychic Boost Ball, which lets us boost and ride around on specific psychic rails. And with this boost, at the entrance of the ice belt, we can get the chip for our next upgrade shot, the freeze shot. We then need to take a detour back to the Volt Forge to upgrade our suit and the bike in order to resist lava. This grants us access to the flare pool proper, where we discover the machine that can make green energy rain down and forcefully evolve creatures, so the desert beasts are now tougher and more dangerous. Making our way up the flare pool, we meet two more NPCs, Duke and Armstrong. Duke is supposed to be a squad leader, but he doesn't do much, while Armstrong is a rookie, and holy hell is she incompetent, and even more annoying than Mackenzie, constantly fangirling over Samus. We get a heavy on-rails section where Psylux, being the little bitch that he is, comes in with a gunship to knock off the cable car and sends us into the arena for the best boss fight in the game, Feneros. Feneros is hands down the most fun boss in the game, with us alternating between using the hover bike to the blaster on foot. This boss is a little tricky too, but he's hands down the best and most fun. Once Feneros falls, we get the Psychic Grapple, help Duke and Armstrong get to the base, and once we escape, we can head back to the Volt Forge to get the last weapon upgrade, the Thunder Shot. After we grab the chip, we have to fight another Psylux. Once that's done and we get our weapon, it's time to go back to the ice belt to rescue the final NPC, the best one in the game, the robot VUE-995. This bot is the best companion. He's the most competent, he helps break down a lot of walls, and is the most combat capable. As we proceed through this area, we can get the Psychic Spider Ball that lets us attach to tracks to crawl around on magnetic and psychic rails. With this, we can now get the bonus upgrades to the shots, letting us charge up the elemental shots to shoot more bursts. I like the lightning one the most, as it's a stream of continual chain burst damage. These upgrades are bonuses, not mandatory. We then can head to the final area of the game, the mines. We storm the mines with most of the NPCs, everyone but Mackenzie, the coward. Before we head down, Tokabi and the bot stay behind to beat off the swarm, while we go down into the mines with Duke and Armstrong. As we drill deeper into the mine, Duke ends up staying behind. We get the super missile upgrade, and then Armstrong has to make her stand. But then the robot buddy shows up again to help us out. And once we get to the bottom, we have to fight the Omega Griever, whose most annoying thing is that he loves to duck out and summon a bunch of the Mine Griever variants. He's not really hard, just annoying, and when he falls, we get the last upgrade, the Power Bomb, Psychic variant. As we leave the mines, we see that somehow all of the NPCs have survived. Now it's the time for the endgame cleanup. With the bolt shot, every region has a scan drone that when powered up will mark your map with all of the collectibles to power you up. Tokabi will also camp out at various spots in the desert and give you teleport chips and upgrades, which are kind of annoying as he only shows up at 1, so sometimes you think there's something you're missing, but it's just that the sniper hasn't set up camp there yet. We need to collect 6 pieces of a giant mech in order to tear down the force field to get to the final air arena. So, we need to explore a bit of the flare pool and drive around a lot in the desert, as we also need to collect enough green crystals to get the special Lemorn memory fruit. One of the pieces does get swallowed by a boss called a Varmis, which is more of a chore to fight than fun. And there's also a mech part in a new section of the flare pool, with a mini-boss that is also uninspired. With this, items should be at 100% and scans at 98%, with the last 2 coming from the final boss. We also gain a more powerful beam from the crystals, and unlock a new, less sexy suit with a shield that costs 35 missiles to activate once we obtain the fruit. So now it's endgame time. After a long and uneventful cutscene of the robot commandeering the mech, tearing down the force field but losing the mech in the process, we have some long hallways, lots of NPC chatter, and take advantage of the long elevator ride to take out some of our frustrations on Armstrong. We prep the teleporter to activate it, and Silex shows up to stop us. He wants revenge on Samus for something, but it's not clear, like, at all. So, we get to the tedious endgame fight. Phase 1, Silex. And if any of the NPCs perish here, it's an automatic game over. So not only do we need to live, but they do too. And Mackenzie, Duke, and Armstrong were constantly keeling over. Silex feels like he doesn't take enough damage either. He has just as many variants as we do for the elements, and sometimes when he's supposed to be in his vulnerable state, he just skips it and breaks out new elemental dragon heads. The first phase is long and a huge slog. Once he gets halfway down, we chase him through some special psychic space portal, get stuck in a weird on-rails wormhole, and then end up on some rings of a gas giant for the final showdown. Don't forget to scan Silex's ball for. This second phase isn't nearly as hard as his first, and if you fail here, you start in the wormhole again. Once Silex goes down, the final cutscenes play. Samus fires up the teleporter, Silex shows up and tries to break it, Mackenzie tries to fix it, the whole crew holds Silex back, Silex shoots at the teleporter and Mackenzie jumps in front of the blast, and the whole crew sacrifices themselves so Samus can escape and the teleporter breaks. If the 6 of them survive, they're stranded on a hostile planet with no hope of rescue or escape. The credits roll for 7 minutes, and then the bonus scene plays, where Samus plants the seed, removes the crystal to grow the fruit into a young tree, hangs up Tokabi's pendant, and walks off. Yeah, what a downer of an ending. Like, sure, Most Metroid games have you blow up the space station or the planet, but there's a finality and an insurance that the threat is gone, or at least postponed for a fair amount. Like, Prime 1 has Ridley die again, the Metroid Prime is slain, and the Chozo planet gets the Phazon purged. Prime 2, the Luminoth are saved. Prime 3, Phazon is eradicated from the universe. This ending is an extreme downer and feels extremely lame and anticlimactic. Like, as an idea, the ending should be altered to the following. You go to the mines with the group as before, with Tokabi and the bot letting you get in. Duke and Armstrong get taken out in the mine as you progress, and the bot doesn't show up again. You slay the Omega Griever, get the gear and key, you come back up and see the corpses of Duke, Armstrong, and Tokabi. As you walk over the bridge, a robotic voice calls you. It's the bot, who's only a head. The head is able to play a final message from Tokabi, Duke, and Armstrong to Samus. You take the head back to base, and Mackenzie incorporates it into the mech, who then blows up entirely after taking down the force field. As Samus and Mackenzie make their way to the teleporter in silence because they're sad that everyone else has perished, Sylux shows up. We fight him like before, except Mackenzie has to make some repairs so he doesn't help and isn't in Sylux's little arena. We do the Sylux fight, think we won, fire up the teleporter, Sylux reappears, and then Mackenzie's sacrifice has weight as Sylux murders him here, but Samus can get away. Oh, and we see the teleporter blow up and atomize Sylux like Lord Zod from Young Justice. Then, we see the ending cutscene as a bonus of Samus planting the tree and crystal and hanging something from each of the companions who fell. Tokabi's necklace, Armstrong's bracelet, Duke's gun holster, a chip from the bot, and Mackenzie's glasses/goggles. We get better finality, know that the victory had a cost, etc. This hypothetical ending feels better to me. But oh well. Oh, and with all of that, hard mode is unlocked, as is the backstory of why Sylux hates Samus. Apparently, it's jealousy of Samus, anger at losing a potential weapon, and her perceived late arrival causing the deaths of his squad of men. Yeah, this should have been in the game fully, instead of random snippets from the psychic headaches. Overall, the game was fun. The controls are amazing. The graphics are great, the music is decent and expected of the series, and the combat and upgrades are pretty meaningful. There's great cutscenes, environmental storytelling, vibrant environments, and interesting lore. But the game also feels a little rushed at times. The enemy variety starts off well and turns to being very samey and lame. There's a distinct lack of expected upgrades like more beams and visors, There's no underwater section, which I'm not sure if it's good or bad since the gravity suit upgrade is usually important. The scanning is the worst in the series due to the poor color choices. There is a profound lack of Metroids or other creepy fear factor like in all of the other games. The NPCs are all very annoying, and crystal collecting is the most annoying and boring chore. The game has about as many points in its favor as it has against it. So, after all of that, I'm not too sure about how to rank this game. I enjoyed a fair amount of it, but the tedium and failures are large and glaring. And I did 100% the game, so it's not like I missed something. So I guess it's time to put a number to it. So, for the patented Dan the Ranking Man scale, the game gets a 73 out of 100. I don't think the game was worth the wait, and it definitely could be better, but I did have fun with it. Had fun seeing the new creatures, learning the lore, and having some tough but fun fights. But the endgame slog is much worse than even the first Prime game. Maybe this will give me a good excuse to play through all of the Prime trilogy again. So, like, subscribe, hype, comment down below which boss was your favorite in this game and which one you disliked the most. And remember, only that loser Silux could fail this badly after stealing the Metroids and taking over several large and powerful creatures along with the army of psychic robots.